All right. Week 5, right? We're in week 5.
Yep.
Week 5 of the NFL. It's going by fast. And then NBA is starting like in 2 weeks. And then playoffs for baseball. What a time to be alive. We are back. Me and Adam here to give you all of our predictions for week 5. We have 4 teams on the bye week, so pay attention to that. Pay attention to all the injuries, as we say before, too, because there's injuries piling up on certain teams. So pay attention to that to whoever team you're betting. But last week, I was above 500, going 9-7 against the spread. And Adam, well, let's just say you didn't have the best week against the spread. We'll put the record down there on the bottom. But guys, it is week 5. The middle of the season now is on its way. So we're flying through the season. There's 14 games, I believe, if I got that right. So there's a lot of great games. Still a lot of great matchups. Are my Philadelphia Eagles going to stay undefeated? Do the Packers need this bye week? Adam's team. Adam, before we get all our predictions, give us the Packer report. What's going on? Lost the Browns and now a tie with the Cowboys. What is going on with the Green Bay Packers here?
I'm really not sure. A lot of people are giving a lot of hate to LaFleur, and some of it is warranted. I think he's lost faith in the offensive line, and they're really doing more dinking and dunking. I don't know. I think with a bye and then the Bengals the week after, hopefully we can get right. But we got to get that O-line shored up so the offense can start dominating again. And the defense was rough last week against the Cowboys. I think Dak Prescott did play great, but man,
he's looked like an MVP candidate. If his team ends up with a winning record, even if it's like 9-8, I mean, it has to be because of Dak, because the defense is not helping him whatsoever.
No, they didn't have CD, but man, Pickens is awesome. I mean, that's an amazing number 2 that can step up and be a number 1. So I don't want to take anything away from the Cowboys, but the Packers D did not show up either. So those are the 2 big question marks. Hopefully the bye week we can get right.
Right. I want to point out, as the official Packer hater of this podcast, I did go choose the Cowboys to cover and the Browns to cover. So I hear you, man. I hear you. It's tough when your team loses, when they could, they're better than both those teams. I mean, on paper, they're definitely better than the Browns, but the Browns that was a trap game. But guys, all right, let's get into it. It is week 5 in the NFL. We just had to give a little Packer report here since it's on the bye week, licking their wounds. So let's get into it. Let's start off with my big, beautiful team, the only undefeated team in the NFC. That is the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Denver Broncos, and the over-under is 40. The Eagles are favored by 4 points, 3.5 in some other books, and the over-under is 43.5. The Broncos, they're tale of 2 teams. In the beginning of the season, they beat the Titans, and then, I mean, it's the Titans, and then they only beat the Titans by 1 possession, and then they lose to 2 teams that are probably going to make the playoffs. Let's see about the Colts. I know they look good, but let's see a couple more weeks. And then they blow off the doors off the Bengals. So their 2 wins are against teams that are not good. Obviously, because Joe Burrow's out, the quality of football has gone down the drain with the Bengals, which I don't know why the Bengals do not make a quarterback change. I'm sure they would trade Russell Wilson or his backup, Winston. Right, yeah. So I don't know why they would trade him. Anyways, 2 crappy teams the Broncos beat, and they lose to the 2 playoff teams, the 2 good teams. So what team are we getting with the Broncos? Are we getting a team that could hang with the playoff teams, which they only lost to the playoff teams by a combined of 4 points? The Chargers and Colts. I think the Eagles are better than both those teams, but they still lost. Or are they going to be the team that beat the 2 crappy teams? They got a good defense. We all know it. We don't have to go over how great their defense is. They got names everywhere. Don't forget, though, the 2 playoff teams that did beat them pit up over 50 points against them, those 2 teams, the 2 good teams that they lost to. So is their defense that good? That's something to ask yourself. What's your take on the Broncos, man? I feel like a lot of hype was on their defense, and now they're like, I don't know. I don't know if they were too hyped or they're a bit overrated, and maybe they're coming to their own now. I'll let you. What do you think about the Broncos?
Yeah, they were kind of hyped on both sides. Same with Bo Nix, and neither one has really shown what people were hoping for. I think their running game is solid. Cortland Sutton's playing great. So I do hope that Bo Nix keeps getting better. But yeah, the defense is really disappointing. I think I took them in a couple fantasy leagues thinking that they were going to be, you know, just dominant, and they have not been. So
Right. And
I don't know.
yeah, and their offense has been they're 28th ranked in passing yards. They're mediocre in completion rating 19. Their yards completion is 25th ranked. Yards attempt is 26th ranked. The QB rating is 22. So these are the back end of the of this team. It's the back end. It's not a place where we want to be. Excuse me. Sorry. We'll cut that out. But their rushing game is looking good. Their rushing game is in top 10, it's number 10, and their yards per rush is in the top five, is ranked number 4. So, and this was the formula they had last year, and I think they need to stick to it. J.K. Dobbins is looking good. Harvey he's picking it up. I think they want to see more from their well, they want to see more than just Sutton at wide receiver. I think they have Franklin, Evan Ingram is not panning out. I think he looks like he's lost a step. He does not. That looks like it was a swing and a miss by them. So you're right. And the thing about the defense, they need to step up as well. They've been kind of mediocre, not the defense we're used to knowing. 18th in yards allowed. That's just that's below average. They are 24th in pass attempts allowed. They're 18th in yards per completion. They're allowing 9.7 yards. So you want them to step it up more than that. They're still getting after the quarterback. They're sacking people at at almost 4 sacks a game. So that's good. But you expect more from the Denver team that had the defensive player of the year and had all those 49er guys. So I hear that. But let's talk about the Philadelphia Eagles now, real quick. My Philadelphia Eagles. Look at it's not ugly. I mean, it's not pretty. It is not pretty what they're doing with how they're winning being 4-0. And I get that. I totally understand it. But they have had a murderous row of a schedule. They beat the AFC champions from last year in the Chiefs. They beat the Rams, who they played in the NFC Championship. They beat the Buccaneers, who also made the playoffs, and the Dallas Cowboys. We now know that they have probably going to end up one with the top 5 MVP candidate in Dak Prescott if he keeps going the rate he's going. And they probably have a top 10 offense when it's all said and done, especially when CeeDee Lamb comes back and looks like Javonte Williams was a great signing. But let's not talk about the Cowboys. They have played a hard schedule, and they're 4-0. So, yes, they haven't put it together. A.J. Brown is doing cryptic, tweets. He apologized for it, blah, blah, blah. I wasn't too worried about it because this is A.J. Brown. He's done this in the past, and he just bit the bullet, and he went back to playing his game and all that. What I'm worried about the Packers, and I'll let you jump in here, Adam, is the running game. And it's not just the running game; it's the offensive line. Our left guard Dickerson, he is beat up. He was injured before the game and before the season started. He had a minor surgery, and then he was going in and out of the first game of the week. First game of the season, and then Lane Johnson, he's been in and out the last 2 games with a neck problem, with and other injuries. He was questionable. He's going to play this game, but he's sitting out doing limited at practice. So the offensive line, our vaunted offensive line that everybody likes to say we have the best offensive line there is, which when healthy, I think they are, but they're not clearing the lane for Barkley. When the Eagles are bunched up in wide receiver, their offense is terrible. But when they spread out the wide receivers 2 on each side, they have the best EPA pure pass in the league. So they just need more consistently. Look at the analytics. Okay, when our wide receivers spread out, there's nobody who can stop us. Oh, the offensive line is not doing so great. How about some flats? How about some quick flats of Barkley, who could get up in space, or AJ Brown, who knocks over corners like it's like the ragdolls. So I think this falls a little bit more on the offensive coordinator than anything. Like I said before, they shouldn't have hired within. They should have hired somebody externally, but they brought somebody in. What's your take on the Eagles, man, from a non-biased guy watching from the outside?
No, I think you nailed it. I mean, Saquon is a great running back, but if you look at it last year, I mean, he was running through holes that you could drive a car through. He's not just busting off 80-yard runs and throwing people off like Marshawn Lynch. Like, he played great, but that offensive line was unbelievable last year. So if they can't rely on the run as much, it is going to expose some things on the offense. And I will say I've been pretty tirelessly creating, sock puppet accounts on every social media I can to harass AJ Brown into having a meltdown, and I think it's working. I don't know. I call on other people to join me in the warfare against the Eagles, but obviously they need to let him loose more. He's right, but like you said, they did beat four good teams. So ugly or not, obviously they're showing that they have the grit to power through. So I hate to see it, but they're still looking really good. Best team in the league, probably.
Yeah, and you know what? When the season started, this was murderous row. This was like holy crap! This is a hard floor stretch, a horrible, hard month, and we got one more. We got another playoff team to go through. So there is some worrisomes. Like I'm tired of like I just want one consistent 4 quarters. Like come on, guys, it's like you you were first the first half against the Buccaneers looked great. They're using all these design plays. They're using motion, all this. And then it went down and then it just didn't do too well. And then in the second half, I don't know if you saw the statistic. In the second half of the Buccaneers game, the Eagles didn't complete one pass.
I did not see that. That's
They didn't complete
crazy.
they didn't complete one single pass. And the touchdown they got was off a turnover that they got close to their to the and then so I think they had a statistic. It was like that hasn't happened like I don't know how many years. And it's unbelievable. And we're the only team that started off 4-0 off from a Super Bowl and have only like 250 yards, total yards, which is ranks 30th in the NFL since 1950 or 45. It was from that old.
Wow.
So this is like I don't know if this can last. So we're gonna get our predictions here real quick. I just want to emphasize the Eagles are winning. They're finding a way, but like this is like being ridiculous with all the all stars we have. We're 30th in yards. We're 30th in yards per play. The Eagles are 29th in yards per rush. They're 31st in passing yards. They're 32nd in passing attempts. They're 30th in completions, but in completion rating, they're top 10. But they're in the bottom three of yards per play per pass. So they're in the bottom, the cellar of of the NFL offensively when it comes to passing and a little bit of rushing as well. So they need to change it up. Okay, I know we're winning a lot of games, and I'm glad we are. But and we went through a bad stretch of games because after the Broncos, it's the Giants, Vikings, the Giants, and then a really easy win against the Packers. So just kidding. But so with all that being said, you're playing against a potential the number one ranked defense. I think last year. Oh no, Eagles was number one ranked defense last year, but the Broncos were number two, number three, right behind them. They had the number one sacks last year. I'll let you go first. Like, what do you think, Matt? Do you think the Broncos is this going to be a defensive matchup? You think with these two teams not knowing, which offense is going to step it up? It's quite a hard game. I think more hard than I had with the Rams and the Buccaneers.
It is a hard one, and I do think it will be a defensive battle. The line did open at 5.5 to the Eagles, and now it's moved down to the 3.5 level or whatever you were saying. So the public is jumping on the Broncos. I just don't know that I can do it. I think the Eagles have shown too much that they can pull these games out, and I just can't bet against them until I see something break. So I'm gonna go with the Eagles, and I don't want to.
Yeah, I hear you, Matt, and I'm with you. Look at I've picked the Eagles over and over again. I get it. I don't want to bet. I don't want to pick against my team, but the Eagles are 3-1 against the spread. Okay, they're undefeated at home. Obviously, they're undefeated away too, but they're 3-1 against the spread. So they're covering spreads. They're doing well. So it's not like I'm just like just pulling this out of my behind, if you will. So I know the offense is, but it's just if they could have that, all they have so much talent, they just use that one gear, and I think they could turn over on the Broncos. And let's see if Bo Nix could get out of that cover one the Eagles like playing and doing a lot of situational blitzing. I think that's gonna mess them up a little bit. So give us Bo for the Eagles to cover the 3.5 points. But like I said, I think this is going to be a really really good matchup. And I mean, this is the most game I'm scared about since the season started, more than even those other teams, because I think the Broncos could start, picking it up here, and the game they just won could be a boost to that. let's go over the Atlantic and let's go to a team that was in Ireland and now they're playing in London, and that is the Vikings versus the Browns. This is a really good defensive matchup. The Vikings being favored by 3.5 and the over under being 35.5 points. The lowest number, and as long as I can remember, 35.5 points is pretty damn low. Um, I'll start us off on the Vikings, Adam. Carson Wentz, he kind of showed us what we all know what Carson Wentz is. He had two interceptions. Nothing, but and I know it looks good. Like they almost lost, they barely lost, I should say. But those touchdowns were kind of a little last minute. He did score, I think, 15 points in the fourth quarter. You don't want to give the look that you're giving up. But they came back in the game and they still lost. But he was sacked several times. He had two interceptions. He threw for 350 yards, so that's good. Jordan Addison and Jefferson both went over 100 yards. Jefferson had 10 receptions, so he was doing all the catches he needed to do. And Addison was averaging be like 28 yards a catch. So he had 4 receptions for 100 some yards. So he was doing the big play stuff. So I'm sure that's great for anybody who's a fantasy owner for those teams. Like it's better than JJ McCarthy so far. Their defense is still ferocious. It gets after the quarterback. It's unbelievable. So you have to watch out because breaking news: the Browns are not going to be starting Flacco. They're going to be starting Gabriel, and he likes to use his legs, so that's good. But all the complex blitzes that Brian Flores might do, I don't know how that's going to work out for a rookie. But another big thing, a big thing. I don't know if you heard that. You may know this, Adam, that their offensive line is beat up to the core. It is like there's three offensive linemen who are out, and then the backup guy is out as well. The backup center is hurt. So that's four guys, three of them starters are out for this game, and that's not looking good too for the Browns. What do you think, man? About the Vikings? I don't know. Are you really worried about them in the NFC North? And also, what do you think about them?
I'm not worried about them until they get their quarterback figured out. Wentz looked fine in the beginning of the game, and then they started getting after him. I think last week he was sacked 6 times, and I think the Browns can easily have more than 6 sacks on him. So I just don't know how that offense is going to get going. I mean, the over/under seems pretty accurate because I think the Browns are just going to destroy that offensive line. You said 3 starters are out?
Yeah, 3 offensive linemen are out for the game, which is that's a lot, and it's a
crazy.
lot. Yeah, and it's a lot when you're talking about the Cleveland Browns. Now, I don't have to repeat it, but I've been harping on their defense before the season started, and uh, that's the bread and butter. The bread and butter is that defensive line. It is murderer row. They're number one in stopping the run as well. But Myles Garrett, which he is limited in practice this whole week, so keep an eye on that. He looks like he's a little banged up, his knee. So it's murder. It could be murderous row with that defensive line and this offensive line that's beat to hell. And I don't think we need to talk about the Browns offense. It's going to run through Judkins, because this rookie quarterback, I don't really trust him to get into any of his weapons. Maybe the tight end could do some good play here, but I think it's gonna be a lot of dump offs to the running backs, the tight ends, and Judkins getting like over 20. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets over 25 carries mixed in with Ford and Sampson and all that. And I think Gabriel's gonna be running the ball, maybe some RPOs to keep it going. But I think what it comes down to is this. I want to mention, sorry, I was about the Browns did trade for Cam Robinson, the left tackle from the Texans. I think it was a backup left tackle too, because they lost their left tackle, the Browns, for the year. So they brought in Cam Robinson. Cam Robinson does have starting playing time. He started for the Jaguars for a few years. And I know he
He's
didn't play too
listed
hot.
as a starter right now on the
Yeah,
depth chart.
yeah.
So
They
he's going
traded
to
for
jump
him.
right in.
Yeah, they traded for him for that reason. So they do make a trade for him. And the Browns offense is only averaging 14 points. I think it's playing him against the Vikings defense, talk about throwing person right in the fire. And also I want to mention this is Coach Stefanski of the Browns. in his 6 seasons. This is his 12th starting quarterback. That is insane to me. It's like unbelievable. So I guess what it comes down to, Adam, is like which defense is going to probably make more plays. That's what's going to come down to. Is the Browns, front seven, and they got good corners. Are they going to get after this beat up offensive line? And do you trust Wentz, who has more veteranship and they have weapons, and the wide receiver weapons? I don't think Mason's probably going to do anything against this rushing defense. Or do you trust? Or are you going to trust the Vikings defense against a rookie quarterback with with not so the best weapons? I think this is a difficult one here, man. What do you think?
Yeah, it's really you're picking between like the giant douche and a turd sandwich type of deal. But I kind of like the rookie running back for the Browns. It might give him some juice. I like that he's gonna run. Um, yeah, I think I'll start this off, and I'm gonna go with the Browns. I know they got beat last week, but the Lions are great. But I think with all the weakness on the Vikings O-line, I think the Browns defense could score some points, where the Vikings this year have scored a lot of defensive points. But I think it's going to switch up this week, and I'm going to go Browns.
Yeah, this I actually went back and forth. When I first saw this initial line, I was picking Browns because 3.5, because 3.5 could actually mean a lot in this game. Like that, the 3 points just could make a lot because this number is supposed to be low. I'm gonna say like this: whoever gets to even close to 20 points wins this game, which that'd be a far cry to even get to 20 points. I think this is probably could be a 14-10 kind of game. Hell, even like 9-12 maybe, or like something in that range. 14-17. It's really tough. It's really tough. I'm taking the Vikings to cover the 3.5. It's fly. It's the Vikings. They last week they were in Ireland. They're staying there for a week in England, so they're getting used to that more than the Browns are. And I'm just solely taking on this. Like I wouldn't be surprised if the Vikings get like 20 sacks on Wentz, but I'm solely picking the veteran. I think they could get a spark, like you said, the Browns from the rookie quarterback and Judkins. But I'm solely taking this because of the weapons, Jordan Addison and Jeffries, and I think they could. I have more confidence in them to put up some points than I have to Gabriel and Judkins, which I like that combo. Could be I like Judkins, so I'm not confident, but I'm going to take the weapons of the Vikings and the person who's been in the ringer a little bit more in Carson Wentz. So give me the Vikings to cover the 3.5 and give the Atom the Browns to plus the 3.5. Unless you want to take a money line. What do you think? You want to take the points or take a money line?
I want the points.
Okay. Smart man, smart man. So our next game is a battle of the bums. Now, if you'd have told me last year that this was the battle of the bums, I'd have been like, "Oh, you are smoking some good drugs there." But the Texans and Ravens are not looking too hot. The Texans are favored by 2.5 points, 1.5, depending where you shop your books at. Always shop your books. And the over-under is 41.5. Let's just jump in with the Ravens, man. The Ravens are coming off a loss to KC. They're just stacking up losses, okay? And besides that, they are hell, they might be the most injured team in all of football. And let's just start with their injuries, okay? And then we'll jump into everything else. Their starting fullback, which is an all-pro fullback, Richard or Ricard, he's out for this game, or he's questionable, but I think he's going to be out. Rokon Swift is questionable for this game, but he's maybe out. Marlon Humphrey is out for this game. Nate Wiggins did come in limited practice today on Thursday, and Ron Stanley's questionable. Their starting defensive lineman, I cannot pronounce his name, Matabuke. He is out, completely out. And Kyle Hamilton, he's new on the injury list with a groin injury. He didn't practice today. So they are injured galore on that defense, like nobody's business. And Ronnie Stanley, the starting tackle. So, I don't know. And it looks like they don't have a lot of depth because the Chiefs put 37 points on them. Oh, yeah. The defense has allowed 133 points in in this whole season. 133 points. Every team has scored 37 or more against this Ravens defense that so much money was spent on them. So many draft picks were picked for their defense, and they're letting everybody and their mother, their grandmother, their aunt to score on them. So, dude, I don't know what to go with this Ravens team. Also, I forgot to mention the big possible person who's not going to play this game is Lamar Jackson. Is he going to tape himself up and is he just going to say, F it, I'm going to go out there and play? Or are they going to do a rush to play? And he's actually he's actually a good backup quarterback, but that's just your all-star ex MVP. He's hurt as well. Oh, I also want to mention Auze, their starting corner. He is questionable. He's probably out with a hamstring. And Earl, this other tackle, Jones Jr., he is hurt. The starting center, he's questionable for it with the calf. Urban, Stanley, Smith, they get injuries galore, dude. What are you taking from this team? And before that, like I said, everybody and their mother was scoring on them.
The Ravens aren't a team that bounces back either. We've seen them crumble in the playoffs. When they get punched in the mouth, they do not respond well. And I don't think all these guys are hurt. It's kind of crazy that, they get down a bunch against the Chiefs and then Lamar's hurt. I just think some of these guys might be giving up already, or they're not hurt enough to. They're kind of hurt. They could play, but I could see this team really giving up. You lose one or two more games with Lamar out, and your season's pretty much over. So I don't know. I don't see them rallying the troops and pulling this team back together this week with Cooper Rush. It could get ugly.
Yeah, they could. There's some chances there that some guys are making what they call business decisions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like to make sure they don't get hurt. And let's quickly talk about the Texans. They're coming to a win against the Titans. Me and Adam both had the Titans covering that. I mean, the Texans have covered that one. They blew them out as they should. The rookie running back is looking good. Woody Marks. He had a combine of receiving and rushing for over 100 some yards, 2 touchdowns. So I think they need to lean in more to that because Stroud needs more weapons and Chubb could be a situational back to get those hard yards. So I think they need to lead the way with Marks. Um, you know, and they just need the rest of as usual. The Texans offensive line needs to hold up, but the time I don't think that the Baltimore Ravens are really sacking anybody that much, anyways. But they need if the offensive line holds up, Nico Collins could tear them apart because the whole secondary is beat up for the Ravens. And, maybe Christian Kirk, Higgins get some play here. Like I said, Woody Marks has added a spark to their team. And like we don't have to talk about their defense. I repeated it, said it multiple times. Their front seven is a damn nightmare. They have the two best rushing DN duos in the league, and Will Anderson and Hunter. So I don't need that to do that. Pay attention to Sting, their corner, Stingley Jr. He has an oblique injury. I know he's playing and he's practicing, but a limited basis. But just keep an eye on that because those obliques are bad. But all right, man, this is what it comes down to. The Houston coming off and win with the Titans, the first win. It was a crappy team. Houston, they have pretty much arguably the worst. I think the worst offense it's one of the worst offenses in the league. Do you think they could put up good numbers against a reeling just a bad defense? But before I get into that, though, actually, you took the first two. I'll take this one, but I forgot to mention this. Derrick Henry, he dominates. Derrick Henry dominates the Texans. 4 of his 6 200-yard, because he's rushed over 200 yards 6 times in his career. 4 of those times came against the Texans. So he absolutely dominates the Texans, and the Ravens have won 6 straight against the Texans as well. So the Ravens had their number, but these injuries are piling up like crazy, like nobody's business. So I guess I'll go first. I'm just going to take the Ravens. I'm going to take the Ravens plus the 2.5 points. I think if the Ravens, if they lose this, then it's time to, start packing again. But I think if the Ravens lean hard on Derrick Henry and then use that strictly for the play action, use Justin Hill as well, the backup running back, who's a good passing catch running back. Pit Zay Flowers in space. Like he was not getting the ball last week. I just think if they win this game, they got to lean on Derrick Henry and wear that defense down. And yeah, and I'm just gonna I think too much swung to because it opened to the Ravens to be the favorite, obviously, and now it all swung to the Houston Texans because how injured the Ravens are. But Lamar Jackson is not. He has been officially out for this game, so I'm taking the Ravens to cover the 2.5.
Yeah, it's a tough one. With Cooper Rush, maybe the Ravens will have more of a like conventional offense and not try to lean on Lamar, and they can score points still. Um, I can't believe that if the Browns got an offensive lineman from a team with an absolutely terrible O line, like what are the Texans even trying to do on
Yeah,
their offensive line? So I don't know. I'm really
it's
struggling
tough.
with this one. But I think I'm just going to go opposite from you just for fun and take the Texans on this one.
I mean, it's not a reach, dude. They're favored for a reason to cover the 2.5, because they're like you said, this team is no longer being held by gum and tape. It's being held by damn construction nails and drywall. They need a whole foundation to hold this team up. But and their defense is arguably the worst defense in all of football. That's how bad it is. But I think that Derrick Henry has to let loose, and that's how they'd win this game. But I want to be surprised if your pick comes through too, because they're just beat up at every level on the defense. So another game where we are different on. So give Adam the Texans to cover the 2.5, and I'll take the Ravens plus the 2.5 points. Now, a game that is actually Battle of the Bums. The team, like I mentioned, I like the previous matchup. They're the Battle of the Bums too, but this is actually the Battle of the Bums, the toilet bowl game here. We have the Jackson Dart New York Giants versus the Spencer Rattler Saints, and the Saints are favored by 1.5. The over under being 41.5 points. Um, Jackson Dart, he led the Giants to a win. I mean, how many parlays do you think got lost with that Chargers laying an egg, man?
All of them that they were included in.
Dude, I put them in one parlay, and I'm glad I didn't put them in. I didn't touch them. I'm not telling people to play parlays. Don't do them. Only do them for fun. 20 bucks, something like that. But yeah, I stayed away. I paid them in one. That was it. And I was like, I'm not a Chargers fan. I think everybody knows that. I think Jim Harbaugh is overrated, but we don't have to go there. So Jackson Dart, they come through. It was more of that front seven that was terrorizing. On the defense, I was terrorizing Justin Herbert, and we've been saying it for all year long. That front seven, it has the potential to be good. Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, and Brian Burns, the guy's killing it. He's a sack machine now. He's going like to the how he was before, and Dexter Lawrence. I think people sometimes forget how big of a monster he is. Dexter Dart. I don't know. I don't know. He looked decent. I don't think it was nothing like oh wow, 111 yards passing, and I think he had several yards rushing as well.
He,
Excuse me.
he's a he's a motivator though. He's a high energy guy. Him and Cam Scadaboo are quite the combo. Like to get people hyped up. That can only go so far, but you can tell they're putting it all out there.
Yeah, and they ran for 40. They had 42 rushes in that game with the Chargers. 25 from Scatterboo, so they're riding him hard. 10 from Jackson Dart and 7 from Devin Singletary. You don't see him too much. And sticking to talking about the Giants' offense, I think everybody saw, but let's mention it before everybody did it. Their number one star, Malik Neighbors, out for the year, torn ACL. Real bummer. I really like that kid, and that was just a bad, just bad shape right there for him. So yeah, that just sucks. So I think it's gonna be hard pressed to pass to Darius Slay and Robinson. So I think Scatterboo is gonna be the center. I really think he is. They're gonna put him out probably a lot of passing plays, rush him 25, 30 times a game. I really think that's what they're gonna do, and use Jackson Dart to use his legs. I think that's how they're gonna keep competitive with any team. So yeah, but the Giants' recipe to beat the Saints is going to be running the ball, and it's going to be their front seven to get after the quarterback. And let's talk about the Spencer Rattler Saints. They just came off a loss against the Bills, but me and Adam, we took the Saints to cover that game, and they did. Hey, look, Spencer Rattler, we said it last game. He doesn't look too bad. He looks actually pretty decent. He has only one interception, and he has 765 yards passing and 5 touchdowns. It's not bad. His QB rating, it could be better, but you know what? There's probably a lot worse quarterbacks than him right now in this. In the for them, so not too bad. Alvin Kamara, it really does look like he's like losing a step a bit, but Kendra Miller, their backup, he actually got a lot of carries, and I think he out carried Kamara. So that maybe they're trusting Miller more, and they might use a two-headed monster here. I think that would work to their benefit to use them and just rely on the rushing game, use the play action, and throw over the top with Rashid Shaheed or Olave coming in the middle, or their good tight end Juwan Johnson. But I think they need to start flying it out to Rashid Shaheed. They're getting after the quarterback. They have 11 sacks. I think they're in the top 5, definitely top 10 in getting after the quarterback. They have 11 sacks, and that's without their one of their best guys who's hurt. I forget his name. But, I forget, but one of their best defensive linemen is out. He's been hurt for a while. Oh, Young, who that draftee who played for the Bears, but then he was drafted.
Yeah.
Chase Young, yeah, he hasn't played a game yet, so he's still not there. But Granderson has 4.5 sacks. The Flower is it Dex? No, it's not Dexter Flower. The guy they had who's been on the Saints for 14, 15 years. I'll get over here for you guys real quick. He has Cameron Jordan. He has 2.5 sacks. Brian Brees, first round pick from last year, or second round pick. They have this. They have guys on this team. So Justin Reed, they picked him up from the Kansas City Chiefs. Their defense is not bad. Their offensive line, it could use some help there, but enough of that, dude. What do you think? Okay. Oh, by the way, the Giants have lost 7 straight road games, and the Saints have also lost 8 straight games. So Giants ain't looking good on the road, and the Saints ain't winning in general. But if I want to mention this, the Saints, I forgot. Other than the Seahawks game they lost to in a blowout, the other 3 losses they do have, they lost by one possession or less. So they're in games. Okay, so they're like, oh, it's the Saints. They're not around. Like I said, they covered against the Buffalo Bills. That's the only game they were against the spread that they covered. But that's still a big accomplishment for that team. So, man, with that being said, I think what it comes down to, also dating back to college, I keep on stubbing. Going back over their college days, Jackson Dart has never beaten Spencer Rattler. So that's a little tidbit there for you, for any college football fans. I'll take this one, man. So you went 2, and I'll go. This one, there's a lot of spice, a lot of levity, a lot of energy because the Giants won, but I ain't buying it. I am not buying it. This team has almost no weapons besides Scatterboo and Dart. Darius Slayton and Robinson would be number 3 wide receivers on any other team. So their defense, I am worried about it. I think they will get after Spencer Rattler, but like I said, if they could just turn into more of a running team, and Hill, that guy who plays tight end running back, he is questionable for this game for the first time since the season started. I think too much hype on the Giants. Jackson Dart, nice story. They got their upset win. The Saints ain't that much better, but I like the Saints' weapons more than Giants. Rashid Shaheed, I named all for you guys, and they're getting after the quarterback, like I told you. Okay, like I told everybody here that they could get after the quarterback. 11 sacks in the game, so I think the Saints do enough, and they win this game and beat the Giants. I think soundly.
Man, I don't know if I'm just feeling contrarian tonight. I want to argue with you, but I do like the Giants front 7. I know everybody's been hyping them all season, and they haven't shown out. Last week they did. Abdul Carter is coming on strong. I think he had a slow start.
I forgot about Abdul Carter. He had a good game.
Yeah. So I agree. I think the Saints offense is decent. They have great weapons and they can put up points. But I like Dart and Scatterboo, and paired with that defense, I think they'll do it. So I'll take the Giants.
That sounds like a Dart Scatterboo. What is that? I don't know what that sounds like to me. It sounds like a
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a funny thing. But Scatterboo alone is funny. I think you like him just because of that name. But hey, You know what? I'm actually excited to see this game. I'm not lying to you. I want to see the
Hmm.
Saints win a game. I really do. And I Spencer Rattler's proving people wrong. Dart, hey, maybe he'll do something and prove me wrong. But I like the Saints. Come on, Spencer, show them that you're worth it, and give Adam the Scataboo Giants. And let's go to our next game. Uh, the team that I despise, but they're looking good. We have the Cowboys versus the Jets, with the Dallas Cowboys being favored by 1.5 and the over under being 47.5. Let's just talk about the Jets briefly here. I mean, what can you say about the Jets? They are not good. You know, Justin Fields looked good. He didn't look terrible, but like I said before, other than Wilson, who is there besides him? I don't know who is like. Can you think of like it's just him? It's like he's just the offense from him and Brees Hall and Justin Fields'
Hmm.
legs. Okay, I'll give him that. Uh, you know, their Spencer. I saw a good. Somebody broke down. Sauce Gardner has been like flagged so many times because he's holding. He's getting killed in man to man coverage. I think they need to move him in zone or the defensive coordinator to play zone. But when that guy plays man to man, they showed it. He is terrible. And so far this year, maybe he'll turn it around. But team wide receivers are tearing him up, and he's grabbing a lot. But what I'm trying to say is like, what's here? I'll let you, Adam. What's a positive you think you could pull from this Jets team? If you could, what do you think?
They've hung in there in most of their games. I don't know. They're a dysfunctional organization. Their running backs are decent, but they haven't played well. Brees Hall hasn't been dominant. I don't know. Their defense can be good, but at least their front seven can be good.
Yeah, I'll give you that. You're right. And the three of their four games, they've lost by one touchdown or less. And that's what the that's against the Buccaneers and the Steelers. I still think the Steelers are fool's gold, but they still hung in there. But they lost to the lonely fucking Dolphins. Excuse my language. And the Dolphins was me and Adam already said how much of a sideshow they are. But yes, okay. Justin Fields. I think this team, which from the games I'm watching, and I'm sorry, Aaron Glenn, you need to let other your corners take over. I do not like him calling any plays because their defense ain't holding up either, and he's a defensive coordinator. But I really think that they need to let Justin. They just need to run RPO. RPO, RPO, RPO. Let them decide. Brees is it Brees Hall or is it me? Brees Hall or me? That's it. I think that's the only way they could do to be as successful at all. For them to stay in wins. They have the defense, especially the front seven, to get after the quarterback. I understand that, but Justin Fields is not gonna light it up. He has two touchdown passing, and obviously he has more. He's a great runner, but you can't depend on him to run all the time. He has three touchdowns running, 170 yards rushing, 7.4 yards a rush, and 2 yards passing. That's good. It's not terrible. He only has one fumble loss, and he has no interceptions. So that's not terrible. He's throwing at basically 61%. You want that to be so it's not the worst either. So I guess that's something positive. Justin Fields is doing everything he can. Let's talk about the Dallas Cowboys. God awful defense. You saw the Packers put 40 on them. We don't have to remind you guys about that. The uh, Giants pit 37. The Eagles pit 24. The Bears only pit 14. So I don't know. The Dallas confused me. Just remind us, what did you like? What you saw against the Dallas Cowboys when they played against the Packers?
Dak Prescott was playing out of his mind. I mean, Pickens looks good. Javonte Williams looks good. Um, yeah, their offense was humming. Defense, pathetic, but their offense was humming. So if you can put up 40 points in the NFL, I know that was an overtime game, but it's pretty hard to lose.
Yeah, it definitely is, and they're suffering with their injuries too. The Jets have less. They're mostly healthy except for Allen, their backup running back, who they do use her. But I want to put everybody's radar again. Diggs is hurt. Hooker is hurt. Lamb is not playing this game. Murray Jr. linebacker is hurt for this game. Miles Sanders, he's hurt. He'll play. Turpin, he's hurt. He'll play. The Bland is hurt. He'll probably play. So they're a little beat up. So pay attention. And these are starters, a bunch of starters. So just keep an eye on that. But you're right. Their offense is great. They are averaging 404 yards per game. That's second in the NFL. They're sixth in yards per play. They're number one in passing yards, number one in passing attempts, number one in completions, and number one in completion rate at 3%. So their offense is killer. They're great. We don't have to talk about the the Jets offense. The Jets offense is damn near in the bottom five in every category. I literally in every passing category and rushing category, they're on the bottom, damn near bottom five, every one of them. So, dude, I'll let you take this one. I think do you think Justin Fields does enough with this crappy defense? That is the Bears. It's a crappy defense. Do you think he does enough to keep the Jets alive in this game? And it's a close number. Vegas has a 1.5. Or do you think Dak keeps this offensive humming and they put the Jets away?
I think Dak's going to keep humming. I just can't trust the Jets. You never know who's going to show up or how they're going to show up. And if you can play the run okay, you can keep them under 25 points. So, not super confident, but I would roll with the Cowboys.
Yeah, when it comes to the Jets, um, how could because this is basically a pick 'em game. How could anybody put any faith in them? They haven't won a game yet. They're 0-2 at home, so they're not even winning at home. And they're all and well, they're 2-2 against the spread, so it's not terrible. But I just don't know how you can trust this Jets team. Like I said, they haven't won a game home, or they do, sure. But you know what? Give me the weapons and the better competent quarterback in Dak Prescott. And you know what? Maybe they make a play here too to stop the Jets because the Jets only have one wide receiver. That's it, and one running back. It's not like they have weapons. So if Dallas defense is going to step up, this is the game to do it. So I'm with you, man. Give me the Cowboys to cover the 1.5 game, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Dallas Cowboys win this by more than 3 points, maybe even touchdown. So let's get after it with well, I think this game might surprise people actually. Let's talk about the Raiders versus the Colts. Colts being favored by 6.5, and the over/under is 47.5. Raiders, as I said, you guys before, he is damn. You never know what you're getting with what the hell's his name? Geno Smith.
Gino, yeah.
Yeah, he has 6 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. That's literally Jekyll and Hyde. This guy, okay. So you never know where you're gonna get this guy. But hey, give it to the Raiders. It's basically for I know you got him on your fantasy team. Genty, it was his come out game. It looked really great. I saw people he was doing the Michael Myers stand where he stands straight up where he likes to do. He did in college. So that's one of the positives. The thing about the Raiders, what I can't stand is like, why are you not feeding the ball to Brock Bowers? He is arguably the best tight end in the league. I know he's a little beat up because of that knee injury. Probably the Raiders didn't want to. I think the Raiders were kind of hiding a little bit. It sounds like he probably kind of had like a sprained knee, and they're kind of like not, they're downplaying it a bit. But I would just feed him the ball on him and Trey Tucker on the flats and left them space. Brock Bowers would bowl duels guys, and Tucker would be in space. I don't know why they don't do that. I just don't understand. I know Gino's like, hey, somebody here's a ball, I'll throw it. Hopefully you catch it, and you don't know where the hell it's going. So they're 1-3. They're not looking too so. They're not looking so hot. I mean, they did cover against the Bears. They only lost by 1 point. They got blown out by the Commanders. They got blown out by the Chargers, and they got a win against the Patriots, which obviously now they look that doesn't look like a bad win. But their defense is not bad, actually. Matt Crosby is getting after the quarterback as usual. So it's not like it's like it's their defense's fault. It's what are you getting out of um it's what are you getting out of their offense? Isn't gonna stay consistent. And I don't know. What do you think, man? Do you trust Gino at all?
I don't. It was great to see Genty break out last week, but I heard the Bowers didn't practice today.
Yeah.
Without him, that offense is going to be even more one dimensional. No, I don't. That win against the Patriots isn't an impressive win. I just think they're not that great all around.
And they're pretty mediocre in every stat. I mean, every stat from passing to rushing, they're in the low 20s or hot mid teens. So there's nothing this offense is doing like great. I know, what's his name? Gino is slinging the rock at night, almost 1,000 yards. It's okay, but it's not so great. It's not like it's blowing anybody's socks off. I mean, the excuse me. But I know the Colts defense is kind of the same way. Their defense is in the mid teens to lower 20s. So it's kind of like mediocre defense versus mediocre offense. So do that with it you will. But let's talk about the Colts here real quick. Colts, the guy befuddled, the bonehead, lost his grip, whoever's fault it was, drops the ball the touchdown. They lose to the Rams by I believe six, only no more than 7 points. Yeah, and they were in there the whole time, the whole game. Daniel Jones did have some turnovers. Is this him falling back down to earth? They do have arguably the best offensive line in the league. So they have Taylor, guys, killer, 440 yards. Warren, like I said before last week, great pickup. I mean, great draft pick, tight end. Pierce, Pittman, their offense looks good. They're in the top five of total yards, almost at 400 yards per play, rushing yards, rush attempts, passing yards. They're in the completion rates, yards per completion, and they're number one in yards per attempt and passing and rushing. So their offense is humming. It looks really great. So let's just get to it, man. I think it's a lot of points. I really do think it's a lot of points for a team that's they're consistent. So it's like, what are you going to get from the what are you going to get from the Raiders? Is this the time where Gino's on and then Gino slings it and he doesn't throw no interceptions, or is it we're going to get Gino who throws a 50-50 ball and God knows who's going to get it? And both these defense, like I said, are mediocre. Like the Colts mediocre defense, Raiders have the same thing, a mediocre defense. They don't do anything really too well on their defense. I don't know, man. So what do you think? It's a big number. Who do you got?
It is a big number, but the Colts have already beaten two bottom tier teams by over 20 points. So they've shown that they will put bad teams away, and I do think the Raiders overall are a bad team. So I'm comfortable taking the Colts at the 6 point minus 6.5.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. This is a tough one for me. Last time they met up, the Colts already won by 3 points, which really doesn't make a difference because that was 2 years ago. But and the last 10 games, the Las Vegas Raiders are 4-5-1 against their spread. They're 1-3 against the spread so far, and the Colts are covering spreads like crazy at 3-1. Um, this is really tough. I think. I just think that the Raiders are going to do a backdoor cover. I just think there's something there that they might get some garbage time touchdowns, and it's a lot of points. I'm not buying into like this Daniel Jones. Is he going to come back to is he going to come back to throwing interceptions like was the Giants and he was inaccurate? No, I think Jones is going to look good, but I do think this. And hey, mark my words. I think the Raiders are going to be down and then they're going to do a backdoor cover. I really think that's what's going to happen for this game. They do have weapons. I am worried that Brock Bowers is hurt. I am a bit worried about that. And hopefully they're just sitting him out. But Michael Mayer, the backup tight end, is actually a decent tight end. So it's not that bad of a drop off. Oh, he has a concussion. So I don't even know if he's going to play this game. But keep an eye on that. If it does go to 7.5, I'd still maybe take it. But I'm not trying to be contrarian you because my brain is to tell me to take the Colts to cover the 6.5 because they are at home. But I think this number's trying to get to 7.5, and I think the public's going to push it really hard. So I'm on the other end. I think the Raiders do enough to get a backdoor cover, or maybe they stay in it, and maybe this is make or break it. Gino's in the hot seat. Everybody's in the hot seat for the damn Raiders. But give me the Raiders plus the 6.5 points, and give the Atom the Colts to cover the 6.5. And another bummy game, if you will. Let's talk about the Carolina Panthers versus the Miami Dolphins. Hey, the Dolphins got their first win, baby. Go Dolphins. They get their first win. It's not saying much, but one win could possibly shoot them up, but they do lose Tyreek Hill. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going way ahead of myself. We have the Dolphins versus the Panthers. The Dolphins being favored by 1.5 and the over under being 44.5 points. Like I said, these two teams, I think they're going to be fighting for a top 10 pick in the draft. I think we could both agree to that. They're not looking so hot. The Dolphins, like I said, they do get their first win. It was against the Jets. Like we said, the Jets is nothing to brag about. They did cover against the Bills. They also, I believe, covered against the Patriots. So they did cover against two good teams, and they won one in the last three. So they're doing all right from against the spread standpoint. But like I said, Tyreek Hill out for the year, torn ACL. I don't know how he's going to feed his 20 kids, but well, I'm sure he'll be fine. So Darren Waller had a good game. I believe he had 2 touchdowns. His first game back. He's 34 years old, but if they could get something out of him, hey, that's pretty good. He was a good tight end from back in the day. I'm pretty sure you remember that when he's on the Raiders and he was killing it for them. They still have A-Chain. They still all of that. But as me and Adam said in the past, can you trust this team? They are always, you know, we always say they're flash in the pan. Who's going to step up for Tyreek Hill? Is it going to be Waddle, the injured plague Waddle? If he stays healthy, he's not bad. Who's gonna step in Waddle's shoes? Malik Washington, Nick Westbrook, because they haven't done nothing since the season started. It's going to be a lot of A-Chain, I believe, and Darren Waller, and the backup running back Ollie Gordon and Jalen Wright. I think it's gonna be a lot of running back. And by the way, Tua can't take hits like that. He had another bad hit, and he hit that ground hard. And pay attention to that offensive line because the Panthers front seven, if anything, they have a decent front seven. Their defense is not doing well either. I don't need to talk about the Miami's defense. They have names, but like I said, they gave up 21 to the Jets, 30 to the Bills, 30 to the Patriots, 30 to the Colts. So yeah, it's a step up that they held the Jets not to get 30 points, but it's the Jets. Okay, let's talk about the Panthers here. Anything you want to say about the Dolphins before I jump in?
No, they're trash.
Yeah, Panthers, they had one good game that they won. Hooray! They looking like embarrassed as well. To the Patriots. I had the Patriots one of my best bets because I told you guys against the Falcons, even though they won that game 30-0. When you look at the stats, when you dig a little deeper, they really didn't do much. They didn't really do nothing at all. The Atlanta Falcons outgained him and everything. It's just that the Penix was so inaccurate that game. He was throwing a literally 50-50 ball. That's why the Panthers won that game. Blown out by the Patriots. They lost the Jaguars, so they're 1-3 against the they're 2-2 against the spread. They are 1-3. I mean, they're I forgot to mention the Dolphins are 0-2 when they're playing away. Like I always say, when they leave Miami, they don't do too good. Um, I don't know. I don't know what's much to say about the Panthers offense here. If I dig a little deeper here for you guys about their offense, like I said, there's nothing really to brag about this offense at all. They're in the bottom. They're in the, especially when it comes to they're just in the bottom 10 of like every offensive category. The best thing they do is they throw a lot of passing attempts, and that's about it. They have the fourth most passing attempts at them, but they're only completing 61% of those, which is ranked 26. So a lot of passing attempts, but not completing a lot of them. That is, you want to be a little, you want that completion rate to go a little closer if you're going to throw it that much time. But that's what I'm saying. They should be leading the Panthers. They should be leading in rushing attempts. You have Chuba Hubbard and Rico. They should be getting 20 to 25 carries each. I don't care if that's too many 44. They need to rely on the running ball at all times. No, I know they're probably playing catch up, and that's why they're throwing the ball right a lot. But Bryce Young doesn't need to be throwing 30, 40 attempts. He just isn't. Chuba Hubbard only had 10 carries in that Patriots game. He needs 20, 25 if they can be successful. And like I said, guys, their defense is what makes I know their defense ain't looking too good. It's not, but that's one thing the Panthers can hang their hat on. Like I said, they got Wharton, Nick Scott, Mike Johnson. They got Derek Brown. Derek Brown was a beast. He's not doing so good. Bobby Brown, they had J.C. Horn. That's their what they can hang their hat on. Because other than that, then it's basically the rookie McMillan, and that's it. And Hunter Renfro a little bit, and Bryce Young. That's about it for this offense. So Adam, I'll let you start with this one, man. You know, two teams that are just probably fighting for the top five draft pick in next year's draft. Who do you trust? You know, Tyreek Hill's gone for the Panthers. Panthers really don't have no offense, so what offense are you going to take there? Both defense have been trashed as well, man. So I don't know. I'll let you take this one because this one's pretty damn hard.
It is hard. I'm going to go with the Dolphins. Um, I just don't like Bryce Young. I think if Tua can keep his head on straight, they can put up some points. And Achan is electric still. So very reluctantly, I'm picking the Dolphins.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's one of the first games we're agreeing on, or no, we're not. Well, a couple games, but like, how can I put any faith in this? How can anybody put faith in this Panthers offense? Like I said, it is just unreliable. It just. I don't know. This is a pick'em game. I am not confident. And Tyreek Hill was a big part of the offense, and he was looking good. He was a Tyreek Hill didn't look like he's in the like he used to be, but he was putting up some solid numbers for the Dolphins. 265 yards on 21 receptions, so he was getting those big plays. So I'm just going to take the Dolphins solely on I trust their offense a little bit more than I trust the Panthers offense. And you know what? Who knows? This might go down to the kickers. What kicker do you trust more? So give us reluctantly the bummy Dolphins over the Patriots to cover the 1.5 points. And in our other game here, I just want to make sure I didn't skip any games here. Yeah, and our other game here, which is one of the better games of the year, is we have the Buccaneers versus Seattle. This is, two playoff teams. Seattle needs to keep up with the Rams and 49ers, which are playing Thursday. The I said Seattle Mariners. I think about baseball. Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks are favored by 3.5, and the over-under is 45.5 points. The Buccaneers coming off a loss to my Philadelphia Eagles. Um, you know, they are a little they're beat up too. Baker Mayfield is now just like an hour ago was labeled full go at practice. So he will probably play this game, but he's taking too much hits. I know last year he took a lot of hits, but you know what? You don't want last year and this year combining together. Okay, so keep an eye on that. Mike Evans still out for this game, so just remember that. Godwin is back. That killer rookie they have, Bouquet. Hope I'm saying the right. Great, but their running back, who has been dynamite, their star running back Bucky Irving, is probably not playing this game. I think they saw him in a walking boot, and I think that's a significant loss because Bucky Irving, not just from fantasy perspective, he was killing where all over the place. But now all these people are not going to be out. But I just want to go over the briefly over the Buccaneers injured list. There's offensive tackle Heck, he's questionable. Their cornerback McMillan questionable. Dean, their outer corner questionable. Evans out. Gaines questionable. Irving probably out. Their safety questionable. Mayfield is now playing. Morrison, the other quarter, questionable. Shepard, Smith, David, Hall, Reddick, Wirfs, Godwin, all questionable. Participants in practice. Now, a lot of those guys might play, but I just want to let you know a lot of those guys are playing hurt. That's what I'm trying to get to. Um, you know, that Buccaneers game against the Eagles, it looks like they were going to get blown out. They came roaring back. Good for them. They lost by 6 points. It was actually 7 points, but the Eagles did a safety to run the clock out. But Baker Mayfield taking shots. And he's playing a little too much hero ball. He threw that interception at the end to seal it from the great rookie linebacker from the Eagles. He needs to calm down. Bucky Irving, like I said, it kind of sucks that he's gonna be out. But he's getting hit a little too much. But Vita Vea, 2 sacks. The Buccaneers defense is actually pretty good. It's not as Swiss cheese as I thought it was. Their defense is ranked in yards. They're only allowing the they're top 5 in yards given. They're only allowing 272 yards per game. Their defense, which is really good. It's in the top 5. Their yards per play. They're not allowing a lot of big yards, passing and rushing. So they're keeping teams to at bay, if you will. So in their top 5, like in definitely in rush defense. Adam, anything you want to say about the Eagles? I mean the Eagles, the Buccaneers.
Whatever.
They are a tough team. They do look great. Bucky Irving, I think, is going to be kind of a big loss. What do you think about them?
Yeah, Bucky Irving's the biggest one for me. The guy's electric. He can run. He can pass. They really lean on him, and even if he isn't getting the ball, defenses need to know where he is on every play. So I think it's a huge loss to that offense if he's out.
Totally agree. Totally agree. Like, just to give people an example of how Bucky Irving is used. He 237 yards rushing. They do rush the ball pretty well, which is good. I think they'll have to do it to win this game. So 237 yards rushing. They were like say he relied on him a lot, but his receiving is almost 200 yard receiving. So this guy not only just a bulldozer when he's running over you, he is a very good catching back. 19 receptions, 193 yards. Now they got to replace that. Rashad White is a good catching running back, but Buck Irving. That's why Buck Irving went ahead of him in the depth chart because that guy just more dynamic everywhere and get an open space. Good luck. So they'll probably use a good combination of Tucker and Rashad White. And like I said, their defense is doing pretty good this year, and that rookie wide receiver doing really well this year. And let's talk about the Seahawks. I was on them to cover that game. Like I said, their defense is killer. It is top 5. It has all the potential to be top 5, top 3. That's how good they can be. They come off a good win against the Cardinals. Sam Darnold, people are like saying, "Oh, hey!" I literally saw this on ESPN. I wish I remember who it was because I was kind of like taking a step back, like, "Hey, dude, pump the brakes." They said that Sam Darnold, you watch out, MVP kind of talk. He has 5 touches and 2 interceptions. He is not blowing anybody away. He has 900 yards passing. What are you talking about? That's good, not great. He's not like Daniel Jones looks better than him. So I don't know what the hell they're talking about. Regardless, let's take a step back on that. Kenneth Walker, he looks good. Him and Charbonnet, good 1-2 punch. Offense, Jackson Smith, great. They're using that guy Horton and a lot. They're Cooper Kupp. God knows I wish he would do better since I got him on for fantasy, but Horton, Cooper Kupp, and AJ Barner, but it's their defense. It's Reed, it's Murphy the second, it's Leonard Williams, it's DeMarcus Lawrence, it's Ernest Jones, it's Weatherspoon, it's Julian Love. It's their defense that keeps them in the game and gets people, knock them on their butt. And they're not as beat up as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I want to keep that in mind too. They have some guys like Weatherspoon questionable. Their safety, Emmanuel, I probably said that wrong, questionable. Love is questionable, but they probably will play through that. So they are, not as beat up as the 49ers. I mean, the Buccaneers. The Seahawks are 3-1 against the spread. They're 1-1 at home, and the Buccaneers are 2-2 against the spread. Man, what do you think about this? This is a really tough game. Buccaneers are beat up, but their defense is better than I thought it was. It actually surprised me, and Seattle's defense is really great. But I don't know. I'll take this one. I'll give you this one. This one's really tough. It really is. I think it's going to go down to the wire, and that's why I think that's why it's 3.5. But I think the Buccaneers are just a little too beat up, a little too beat up for this game. I think if they hit Baker Mayfield, they just do some damage on him. And Buck Irving is a big loss. It is like that guy was a scapegoat, energizer. And Mike Evans is out too. And I know they got a good combination with the rookie and Godwin, but I think 3.5 points. I think that Seattle could do that enough. Bucky Irving being hurt, and there's a lot of all the injuries on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think Seattle does enough with their defense to cover this number.
Well, I'm going to keep rolling with going against you all night. I think that if Tampa Bay with their solid defense can keep Seattle's rushing game at bay, it's really only Jackson Smith and Jigba that you have to worry about through the air. So I don't I think their offense is containable. And like you said, I think it's going to be a close game. So I'm banking on a even a 3-point win from the Seahawks.
Now,
So I
are you choosing this team just to catch up against me in this in our contest here?
nope.
I can go
No,
either way.
no. I just like you said though. I know they're beat up, but I do think it's like a pick'em game. So since it's 3.5 points, I'm just gonna take the points with the Buccaneers.
No, I hear you. And Mayfield's a warrior. That guy will fight for all these yards, and like he
Hmm.
will keep him in the game, just him alone. So that hook, that 3.5, could definitely be in play. And it's these are two playoff teams, so I could definitely see them going out, coming down the wire, and maybe they just win by a field goal, and you do cover, or they win outright, the Buccaneers. So it's going to be a great game, one of the best games of the week. Now let's talk about a game that's definitely not the game of the week. It's not going to be entertaining whatsoever. We have the Tennessee Titans versus the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals being favored by 7.5 and the over under being 42.5. This one, I don't really think we have to spend too much on. I mean, like I said last week, I'll say it again this week. What can you, what the Titans, like, what was, there's nothing positive on this team. They're one of the worst teams I've ever seen. I think, like, I don't know if you heard this or you saw it, Adam. The head coach going, like, he's yelling, and the quarterbacks yelling at the thing. Like, there was something drama going on big time, to the thought where they're saying, like, "You're out of here, Callahan. You're gonna get fired." Did you catch that?
I didn't.
So, but something happened. It was like in the off, in the it was like right on the sidelines, back in the locker room. All these rumors. There is nothing positive you could pull from this team. There is not. Cam Ward, the guy is getting sacked, hike, boom, sack, hike, boom. The guy can't breathe. He gets sacked. It's over. This guy's the most sacked quarterback so far in the NFL. Tony Pollard, 261 yards rushing on 68 carries. I don't know. Is that doing it for you? No, they have no passing game whatsoever. Their best is a rookie wide receiver. He's not doing so great. Simmons has 2 sacks. Nothing really you can pull from it. They are dead last in damn near every category. They're 1-3 against the spread. They're 0-2 at away. They're 0-2 at home, as you know, because they haven't won a game. So I don't have to repeat that for you guys. But there is nothing to pull from this that they have any redeeming qualities for their team. They just don't. There's nothing I can see. I'm trying to pull up something for you guys. Their offense is in. I'm not lying to you. Every category, almost damn near every category, they're 32th ranked in every offense. QB rating, yards attempts, completions, passing yards, rushing attempts, rushing yards. The only thing that they are middle of the road is passing attempts. That means nothing. So they are not good offensively whatsoever. It's the worst offense in all football, and their defense is not helping anybody either. Their defense is better than the offense. Woohoo! But that's not saying much either, because if your offense can't help you, what's the point? So that's all we have to say about the Titans. Let's talk about the Cardinals, a team I'm not really sold on as well. They come off a loss against the Seahawks. They do cover. They lost to the 49ers by 1 point. They covered that game. And the only wins they do have are against two crappy teams, the Saints and the Panthers. So they lost to two good teams, but they stayed in it. And they lost to two crappy teams. And those two crappy teams covered, by the way. So, the Cardinals, I don't like their offense. Trey Benson's on the IR. Connor is on the IR. They're on their third running back. I can't pronounce his name whatsoever. Um, and I just told you about how the Cam Ward's not so good, right, Adam? Like they're off he doesn't have that many passing yards. He's not that Kyle Murray's not that more than he is. Kyle Murray has 742 yards passing. Cam Ward has 614. So yes, it's 130 more, but that's not saying a lot. Okay, so Kyle Murray, like we always said, he's a good to better than average quarterback, nothing great. Um, so who's going to be the running back guy? I think losing Connor and Benson to the IR and the season, that is a big hit. McBride, love that guy, awesome, great, great, arguably best tight end. Him and Bowers, nothing to argue there. But you know, do you trust Marvin Harrison Jr.? He's like, oh, he got that touchdown pass, in that game against the Seahawks, but he also dropped some passes as well. I mean, I don't know. well, why don't you tell me what you think about the Arizona Cardinals, and then why don't you tell me about what you think about the who you're going to take in this game, Adam?
Yeah, I thought the Cardinals played better last week than I was expecting. Like you said, I love McBride, and their offense can get rolling. I think they'll come in confident against the Titans. Losing those running backs is big. They are workhorses, but I think running backs are easier to replace. So maybe they'll find one of these two running backs that have some juice in them here. 7.5 is a lot, but like I said, Tennessee is horrendous. So I think the Cardinals can definitely cover here. I'm not worried about it. The Titans they're going to have some games where they fight back and they put up some points, but they got shut out last week. They're just reeling and falling apart. So I don't think they're going to cover.
Yeah, and it's tough, man, because like the Arizona Cardinals, the offense is like it's in like they're in the bottom 10 of statistics as well. So these teams are not going to light up the scoring board here. Um, you know, 7.5 is a lot, and I'm just strictly going to take the Cardinals to win this and cover, which I'm leaning towards the Titans to cover this game because I do not trust Murray and I don't trust that offense. But I'd rather take Kyle Murray and his legs and a defense that's some good at some things like at stopping the run than the terrible, god awful Titans. So I mean, I'm taking this one with a hope and a prayer. Give us both the Cardinals to cover the 7.5 points against one of the worst teams I've ever seen ever in the NFL and the Titans. Um, and our second game, which I think is going to be our second game, another game we're predicting here, a game that I think is going to be very hard to predict. We have the Commanders versus the Chargers, with the Chargers being favored by 2.5 points and the over/under being 47.5. Now, I do believe that Daniels is going to play this game. Did you hear that?
I did.
I believe he's going to be playing with a knee brace, though. So, uh, so pay attention to that. He will be playing with a knee brace, so his mobility might be not as great. The Commanders, they are beat up as well as the Chargers, but let's start with the Commanders. They come off a loss to the Falcons. Um, the only two teams they beat were two crappy teams. They beat the Giants and the Raiders. They got blown up by the Packers. Well, they lost to 9 points, but they lost the Falcons. So, I don't know what I'm getting out of the Commanders. I just don't. Their running back room is not good. I don't know why they didn't get a running back in the besides that 7th round pick. Somebody in the offseason, a better pick. I don't know why they didn't get more weapons to help Jaden Daniels. Scary Terry, I believe he's out for this game because was getting that second opinion on that quad. So that is not good. And I don't need to go over last week. I went over their injury report. Their injury report is long listed as well. And like I said, even Debo Samuel has a heel problem. Noah Brown groin. Ertz is on this. Oh, and he got rest. Never mind. So I don't know what to say about their offense. The running back room is awful. It's Rodriguez, Nichols, and whatever the other guy is. And it's also do you trust his defense? Now, Lattimore, remember the guy they traded for last year? He's getting picked on, buddy. He's getting picked on every week now. So maybe Lattimore lost a step because I know he's getting up there. So I don't know what I'm getting from the Commanders. And to be honest with you, there's nobody on this offense besides Jaden Daniels that scares me because if Scary Terry's out, who am I scared of? There's
Just
nobody.
Debo, a hurt Debo.
Yeah, hurt Debo. That's it. So there's nobody on this team that scares me offensively. Their defense is beat up. Like I said, Wise is on the AR. Jonathan Jones is in the IR. Javante's on the IR. Pierce Butler, Will Harris in the IR. So it's just I don't know who the Commanders. I think we're just getting a team that's just who's going to step up basically. And let's talk about the Chargers. The Chargers came off an embarrassing loss to the Giants. The Giants get their first win on them. And now let's stick with the injuries. They're not looking too good either. Their offensive line they have Joe All. I believe he's either out for the year. He's definitely in the IR. So he's out for this game. They had their other lineman out for the year. Becton Jr. has a concussion. He might not play this game. So that's three starting offensive linemen who are not who are you know hurt. But like I said, the Commanders defense, they can't get after the quarterback. They cannot sack the quarterback if their life depended on it. And you know, I think what it comes down to is like, do you trust a more beat up offensive line? No, well, let's just get to it. Do you trust Adam a better weapons in the offensive? The Chargers have a better offense, but their offensive line is beat up. Their defense is good, but they're you hope they would get a better you know you'd have to get a better their injuries are piling up on their defense, just say. So, you know, Derwin James, he's playing through injury, but I don't know, dude. What I'm just trying to say is like, I don't know. Do you trust this Chargers offensive beat up offensive line over off defense and offense of the Commanders that you don't know who's going to do what?
I do. Last week, Joe Alt went out, after just a couple plays, and then the Giants' front seven teed off on them. So I think they kind of just got surprised by that. So I think with a week to regroup, even with those guys hurt, I still like them over the Commanders.
Yeah, I agree with you. I like the Chargers' weapons. I like McConkey. I like Keenan Allen. I like what's his name? Their
Quentin
Quentin
Johnson.
Johnson. Yeah, and their running back is looking like he's taking off. And I think if they just focus on the run game to help Herbert from not getting sacked, and they save his body, and they focus on the run game, use the play action to their good wide receivers, I think they could tear this Commanders team up. So I'm definitely taking the Chargers with you to cover the 2.5 points. And now let's talk about a game that is going to be in not so great for the city of Cincinnati. We have the Lions versus the Bengals. With the Detroit Lions being favored 10.5 and the over under being 49.5 points. Let's talk about the Bengals here briefly. They're complete morons to stick with Jake Browning. The GM needs to make a move now or call it quits and trade Hendrickson and just get a good pick. Because this is ridiculous. Like, you have the best wide receiver in the league, and he's yelling you in the sidelines like he wasn't last week. You got to be stupid. I would trade for a quarterback so you can have enough wins for them. So when Burr comes back to possibly get in the playoff spot. Uh, so I don't know what they're doing. So other than that, there's nobody really scared on this defense other than Hendrickson. They have allowed besides the Browns. Browns the only team that scored 17 points, 16 points on them, but they have allowed the Jaguars to put 27, the Vikings to put 48, and the Broncos to put 30 points on them. What's his name is turning over their ball left and right. Browning, surprisingly, no, I should take that back. He didn't turn the ball over against the Denver Broncos, but they only put 3 points up against the Broncos. He only had 125 yards passing against them. So you know what? I don't know. I don't know if that's a plus just because he didn't turn the ball over. He only threw for 125 yards. So there's nothing to talk about them. Really good offense, crappy running back room, really good wide receiver weapons, crappy defense. Detroit, they're humming. They are blowing people out. They are since they lost that Packer game, they are taking it personal since they lost that game. They are blowing teams out. They look good, defense and offense, I should say. Actually, they blew out the Browns. They blew out. They good win against the Ravens, and they blew the absolute doors, the wheels off the Chicago Bears. We don't have to go over them. They have weapons galore. They could get out. They've been getting after quarterback. I believe Hutchinson had 2 sacks against the Browns. So, dude, I'll go with this one. Easy one for me. Give me the Lions to cover the 10.5 points to a dumb Cincinnati team.
How is this not the biggest spread of the year so far? I think the
Yeah,
Bills, we saw them at like 14.5. The line only opened at 8.5 to the Lions. I think that's ridiculous. I would have taken them at 18 points or something. Like, I don't see how they don't just I don't know. They're going to
annihilate them.
destroy.
Yeah. So there you go. Bengals fans, if you're watching this, write a letter, call your senator to reach out to the organization, to the Bengals, and tell them to please trade for a quarterback because this is embarrassing. You guys are going down the tank with that offense, and get somebody on defense as well. That defense is garbage as well. So give us the Lions to blow out the Bengals in a game that's trying to be over by the first half. So with that, let's get to a more competitive game. Let's talk about the Patriots versus the Bills, which I think is going to be, it's going to be a high flying game in my opinion. And we have the Buffalo Bills being favored by 7.5 and the over under being 49.5. Patriots, like I said, I had them. It was my best bets. They came and blew the doors off of the Panthers, 42 to 13. It wasn't even close. They finally, that's what you want to see from the Patriots. When they lost to the Steelers, like I told you guys, it didn't add up. Yes, the Steelers won because they won the turnover battle, which was one of the most important things, if not the most important thing in a football game. But they beat them in damn near every category that counted: first downs, yards, time of possession. They beat them in everything. So I knew that they were going to blow out the Panthers. But a great come out game for the Patriots. That's what you want to see. Bounce back, come back, and show them how good you are. Drake May, the guy is actually looking really good. Like I would say that he is probably. I mean, you could probably say he's in the top four MVP, not top five, top 10. Okay. But he's up there, almost 1,000 yards passing, 7 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He needs to stop with the sacks, though, maybe get the ball quicker, or maybe his offensive line needs to protect him more. He's sacked 13 times. That's not good. You want to see a little more from the running back room. There, nobody's really good there. Stevenson's it leads the rushing. Other than that, it's like a miss. It's a I don't know. It's a combination of Drake May, Henderson, Gibson, but great. He is spreading the ball around. Diggs, Henry, Butte, Stevenson, Hopper. They all have over 100 yards receiving. So he is spreading the ball around, which a good quarterback does. Keeps you guessing. Like I said, you want to see the offensive line protect them a little bit more. Marcus Harry Landry the third, getting after the quarterback, has 3.5 sacks. Caleb Vaughn has 2.5 sacks. Their defense could, they're little. I think you could probably see a little more interceptions. You could pass on them just a bit, but I think Drake May, your boy, I think they're looking pretty good.
Yeah, I like what they're doing. Took them a little while to get started, but I think they're looking solid.
Yeah. And let's talk about the Buffalo Bills. Like, they kill it during the season. They kill it better than anybody else. They're the best teams at covering, blowing people out during the season. They are the only undefeated team left in the AFC, and they didn't blow out this. They beat the Saints as they should, but me and Adam we had the Saints covering, so we both had the Saints covering, and we had the. Did you have the Saints covering?
I can't
I can't
remember.
remember. Yeah, sorry. I'll double check that for you guys. But hey, they didn't cover against the Saints and they didn't cover against the Dolphins. So they are 2-2 against the spread, but they're undefeated at home. They're 3-0 at home, and this is in Buffalo. I want to see more from them. What I'm trying to say is the Bills, the rushing attack is killing it. And as a guy who drafted James Cook, I'm loving it. But their weapons, like, I'm still not like, oh, like Coleman, he's looking good. Shakir good, Kincaid and Palmer. They're each guy's over 100 yards. That four has the majority of the touchdowns. I don't know. I think Coleman and Shakir doesn't scare anybody. That's what I'm saying. I think it's more of Jared Allen and this offensive line, because Allen has only been sacked 7 times, and that's only like 2 sacks a game in a game. That's not too bad. I think it's him getting out of space, throwing the ball. But James Cook killing it. He has over 400 yards rushing, 5 touchdowns rushing. So Cook is doing great, and Allen has 160 yards rushing. So we don't have to speak about their offense, but their defense is what I'm worried about. I think their defense, their secondary in particular, is nothing to be worried about. Teams can score on them. Like I said, they are not looking. Like I said, the Dolphins covered, the Saints covered. The Saints could have got a touchdown, by the way. One of the touchdowns, and they dropped the ball, and he dropped one of the balls. It was an easy touchdown, and they could have got it. And the Saints, The Dolphins, they could have got some points too that they left on the board. So, you know, that's one thing you have to remember too. Sorry, my cat's got in the way. So I'm not sold on their defense, Adam. That's what I'm trying to say. And the Ravens put 40 points on them too. What do you think about the Bills? Do you think they're worth all the hype?
No, I think you nailed it. Obviously, their offense is going to keep rolling, but with the bad defense in the NFL, you just let these teams hang around, and their offense has kept them winning games, but it's allowing teams to come close to covering at least. So the Bills do need to figure out their defense, but yeah, I can start with my prediction. I think the Patriots are going to cover. What does Pancake think? Or is that
He
Waffle?
just that's pancake. He can't. The most obsessive. I never met a cat that's so obsessed with me. This cat needs to be by me 24
Got a
7.
bad judge of character, I guess.
um, Dude, I'm with you. I don't know how this is at a 7.5, and you can still get it 8 points on Bet MGM, so you can still get it. So I'd get the best number possible. But I think Drake May, who showed that he could run the ball like Allen, he could Diggs looks like he's getting healthier. He's taking a step in the right direction. I do want to see more from their rushing attack. Because you do want to see. I think this would be a good game to get Stevenson back rolling again. Um, I don't think it's going to be I just don't think it's going to be a blowout. I don't know how it opened this number. The Buffalo Bills are undefeated at home. But like I said, they let the Saints and they let the Dolphins cover those games, and they were at Buffalo, the Saints and Dolphins game. So if the Saints could cover and the Dolphins cover, I get more confident in the Patriots to cover this game. They got more weapons, and I'm telling you, Drake May looks good. He will be, if he keeps this up, he will be in the top 10 for sure in the MVP candidate. So give me the Patriots, and this is the in division game too. So 8.5. It's not like they're playing the Jets. So give us both the Patriots to cover this number. All right, guys, now it's time for our best bets for week 5. I'll put down our record for our best bets, but me personally, I went 2-1 last week and I went 2-1 2 weeks ago. So let's keep the winning streak going. I like these games, and I have another honorable mention that I will personally play myself. In the first game, I like the Chargers to cover the 2.5 points against the Commanders. I just don't know where Commanders are going to get any points. I'm not scared of anybody in this offense except Jaden Daniels. But if you take him out of the picture, are you scared of this running back room? Are you scared of anybody besides Scary Terry? Is Debo Samuel gonna lead this whole offense? I'm not seeing it. I know the Chargers are beat up in their offensive line, but I think they could run the ball with a good rookie running back, use that for the play action, and I think Herbert can actually win this game. And I think they could win this by a field goal or more. So give me the Chargers to cover 2.5 points. And in my second game, I like the Lions to cover the 10.5 points. Now, I just don't understand how this is not a 2 touchdown spread. I don't know if the books think that Browning might step it up. He might find some of that magic and he could throw it to his weapons. But the Lions are humming right now. They're firing on all cylinders. And after that Packers game, they're on a vengeance tour. They have all the weapons galore, the number one ranked offense, and their defense is getting after the quarterback. And I think they're going to get after and sack Browning. And who are you scared on the Cincinnati's defense besides Hendrickson? There's nobody scared in that defense. I think the Lions could easily score over 30 points to get this team. So give me the Lions to cover the 10.5 points. And in my third and final best bet, I like the over in the Patriots and Bills game. I know it's a high number, 49.5 points, but I think the Patriots could score on this overrated Bills defense. I think the Patriots could easily put up 20 points on them. And I think the Bills, especially Josh Allen, is going to have to play Superman to keep up with the scoring of the Patriots. I can see this game being a 27-30 kind of game easily. So give me the over. And just want to say honorable mention. Honorable mention. I like the over actually in the Giants and Saints game. I think the Saints can actually put up some big points against the Giants, and I think the Giants will. I think they can actually put some okay points against the Saints. But I think the Saints can actually drop some on the Giants. So that's an honorable mention. Adam, who do you like? Who's your best bets?
All right, so there is some overlap between yours. I'm going to start with the Patriots plus 7.5. Your MVP favorite, Drake May, I think is going to keep it close. Second is the Lions minus 10.5. I think that is going to be in everybody's parlay this week. I
I'm like,
don't see how that doesn't
yeah,
hit.
right,
My
right.
goodness. So that's an easy one. And then my final game is the Browns plus 3.5. I think they're going to tee off on the Vikings. I know it's a overseas game, but I think Carson Wentz is in for a world of hurt.
Yeah, and you know what? Defense does travel, and the Browns' defense is like it's a Super Bowl defense. It is. It's just a Super Bowl defense. So like I said when we talked about it, I could see I could definitely see the Browns winning that outright. So take them points is smart. So guys, that is Week 5. It's in the books. That's our bet. I hope I keep the winning streak going. 3 weeks in a row above the spread. So I'm looking good. Adam playing a little catch up, but he's getting there. He picked a lot of games against me, so maybe he's right, and I look terrible this week in Week 5. But guys, we love doing this. Just a little tidbit: Adam will be out on a trip next week, so I'll be doing the game solo. But he'll give me his picks before Week 6 begins. So we'll give you guys out there when Week 6 starts. But guys, like I said, we love doing this. Like and subscribe. It goes a long way for this small channel, and it goes, like I said, share it, like it, comment on the bottom there. It goes a long way. So guys, let's win some money. Bet responsible. Stay away from those parlays. Fly, Eagles, fly. Hopefully they stay undefeated, and we'll always see you guys in the next one.